Harmeet Dhillon is the Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights at the Department of Justice. Great to have you this morning. Really appreciate your joining us. So why are you taking action against these states?
Well, we're taking action against these states in the time that we did because each of these two bans actually took legal effect yesterday, and the statutes under which we sue are regarding police enforcement in the states of illegal laws. And it's our position that each of these two laws in these two states on both coasts violate the Second Amendment. And so we're seeking to, there's a litigation strategy here to make sure that the Supreme Court ultimately decides some of these issues. But so far, the court has been very consistently ruling in favor of Second Amendment rights. States are ignoring that. And so it's our job at the Department of Justice to make citizens as free as possible. And the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. And that's why we've stepped up to take aim at these two bad laws.
Yeah, California Governor Gavin Newsom's office releasing statements about this. Take a look at this. In one statement, Newsom's spokeswoman writes, quote, "Our response is simple. These laws save lives. California has proven that strong evidence-based gun safety measures can reduce gun violence while respecting the rights of responsible gun owners." So they say it's a common sense law. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, well, the United States Supreme Court has ruled that we don't get to do balancing with respect to certain fundamental rights. And so he's making a balancing argument similar to the balancing argument that the Virgin Islands is using to not comply with the Bruin standard of the Supreme Court. That's not how it works. Is it a common sense balance to allow speech you don't like? Most people would say no, but the Constitution says yes, you must allow it. And so we have to treat these fundamental rights as fundamental. And in this case, we're not even talking about fringe issues. We're talking about, in California's case, the most popular handgun in the United States is a Glock make. By some estimates, 2/3 of the handguns in personal use in the United States are Glocks. I personally own Glocks, and I lived in California. I could not buy those there today until we get this law struck down. And secondly, the AR-15 is, and other semi-automatic rifles are the most popular rifles in the United States. Millions of Americans enjoy them. And so the standard that California and Virginia is adopting here is that if you live in these two states, you have fewer rights than people in adjoining states. That's not how the Constitution works. We've also challenged AR-15 bans in Denver, Colorado, and in D.C. We've challenged the suppressor ban here in D.C. So we have very wide-ranging litigation here to make it as free as possible for as many Americans as possible to enjoy the rights that the United States Supreme Court has already said are our rights and our heritage in this country. So I'm sympathetic to this balancing test argument, but it is actually outdated and is no longer the law in the United States when it comes to Second Amendment rights.
Harmeet, just going back to Virginia's Governor Abigail Spanberger, her team is speaking out about the lawsuit in that state. And in a statement, her spokesperson writes, quote, "The governor signed this common sense legislation to save lives and protect law enforcement officers, kids, and families from gun violence. And the governor remains committed to making the Commonwealth a safer home for every family." I mean, if anything, it just seems to be the opposite. She's painting this as common sense. I mean, your thoughts?
It's really the same thing. Obviously, they're all talking from the same gun grabber script.
Right.
The reality is, but according to this reasoning, America would be safer if only criminals had guns. Why stop at AR-15s or Glocks? Let's take away everyone's firearms. That actually was kind of the regime at some points, and this is what the left wants.
Yep.
It's unconstitutional. And so I see this as a bright line issue. This Department of Justice under Acting AG Todd Blanche and I are both, fans of responsible gun ownership, and we are very, very committed to this. And so I'm proud of this work we did yesterday. People should stay tuned for more. And we are proud to partner with responsible gun owners throughout the United States to ensure that this fundamental right, which springs from natural law, is as widely enjoyed as possible in these United States. And it is particularly a blessing to do so as we celebrate this country's 250th anniversary.
All right. Harmeet Dhillon, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.